Welcome back to Green Lantern Rise of the Manhunters. So if I recall correctly, we're getting... actually, no, we're not getting a flight stage. I think it's like either at the end or next part.
Aw, how nice of you, Sinestro.
Just promise you'll vouch for me at my court-martial.
See, we care so
Aw.
much about each other. It would really be a shame if something happened.
They care so much that Sinestro will even show up and help Hal on this
Oh, well, I
supposedly...
forgot if I actually mentioned this to you, Jova. Maybe I did in one of the early parts, but apparently, remember how the Crisis on Infinite Earths TV special canonized most of the live action DC stuff?
Yeah.
The universe with Green Lantern as a Green Lantern universe as a classification now, but I forgot which is how exactly is called. But yeah, it is very some canonicity. In fact, correctly, we did mention something about it
Nice.
in some capacity at the very least.
Oh god, they didn't do something like Hal died,
Died or
up in
anything?
space.
No, I don't think so. Otherwise, I will remember it much more clearly.
I mean, okay, look. My stats on the Green Lantern movie, the live action one, mind you, First Flight is great, but when it comes to the live action one, my stance is that, yeah, it was technically a sucky movie, but not something to, like, elicit rage over. It's not nearly as, shall I say, as controversial as something like Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice or Suicide Squad, even.
Like, don't get me
To
wrong.
me, it's like sheer disappointment considering the talent involved.
Don't get me wrong, I still like the joke that Ryan Reynolds did tied to this movie in Deadpool 2, so I'm not gonna take away that from it. But I also get what Jova means. I don't remember actually what did I said for the actual commentary, but gonna be honest, that I do believe the movie might have had a chance. It's still, it still is not really a good product at the end of the day, but I do believe it would have been just enough start to build something upon instead of having to drop it immediately. Not having DC and Warner Bros. Not give up immediately. Although, apparently from what I heard, Ryan Reynolds was not getting along with the director, which doesn't surprise me.
For what movie?
The Green Lantern one.
Okay, which is baffling to me. From what I've heard, Martin Campbell didn't have any issues with actors in his previous movies.
Anyway, there you go, Jova. The Crisis on Infinite Earths, this Green Lantern universe is established as Earth 12.
Huh, interesting.
If I recall correctly, it's one of the ones that gets absorbed by the antimatter wave at the beginning, but if I recall correctly, that gets restored later on.
Pretty much.
What about Earths 1 to 13? Sorry, Earths 1
Very,
to 11.
very usually labeled for something else. Remember, Dweebs, Crisis on Infinite Earths is a huge love letter to anything the DC and live action stuff that has happened in the past. Again, the Tim Burton, Joe Schumacher Batman movies, the Arrowverse, of course, universe, which is very beloved. The old Flash TV series, even the very short-lived Birds of Prey TV series gets a cameo.
Now that was flipping amazing. Also, I think Lois and Clark also got some recognition.
The early 2000 one, I forgot specifically what time period it was, but it was like... sorry, go on.
Wasn't that crossover that had Superman Returns?
Yes,
Yes.
They also had that. It's also the one that confirms through basically dialogue and a photo that the Tim Burton Joe Schumacher movies concluded with Bruce Wayne reuniting with Selina Kyle and living happily ever after. Which, to be fair, it's kind of a nice conclusion. Well, unless we see something like in the Flash supposed Flashpoint movie that retcons that, but who knows?
That's right.
I'm not really sure what to make of that.
What you mean about how they're bringing back Michael Keaton as Batman?
No, I mean him getting with Catwoman.
I mean,
well,
I kind of get. I get where they're coming from in that they were kindred spirits. It's just that, like, well, it kind of wasn't clear whether or not she was alive or dead, despite the ending of Batman Returns kind of showing that she's alive, but kind of up in the air of that. But hey, look at the bright side. Bruce Wayne got plastic surgery to return to how he looked in the first two movies.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, if it's like if you're getting a different actor because it's a reboot, then fair enough. But every time you get a different actor and is in the same series, the same continuity. That's like the only conclusion I can come to.
To be fair,
because it doesn't-
Dweebs, at the time they did not have the concept of building things to last for a long time, nor they thought it would have been too much of a problem to not stay consistent with the main leader, the
Yeah.
actor.
Plus, reputation of the movie aside, why would you want to get rid of your George Clooney face?
Well, I guess he
Because
considered the
George
Michael.
Clooney instead became that guy that dies with a jetpack in gravity. I don't know. Anyway, new enemy type. When you meet that light, your lantern powers are blocked until you defeat the guy that's binding you. So basically,
So you're
prioritize this kind of enemy.
So you're saying Gravity's part of the DCEU?
Of
then?
course, I don't even know what company is behind it.
Warner Brothers.
Oh, well, that makes sense then, I guess. But anyway,
Well, Banzo Kuran's got a history with WB.
but no, yeah. But remember, Jova, what we said also about the fact that now we're treating everything like a big multiverse as well, meaning that the Arrowverse and the instead of the DCEU are technically just in the same couple of multiverse, even if we don't necessarily share the same specific universe. I do wonder if they want to use that as an excuse for justify something like the Snyder Cut of Justice League and said, "Oh, this happened on a different Earth. You know, this is an alter interpretation," or them their excuse to do more solo movies like the Batman or like what they did Joker last year.
Oh
So-
yeah, I will definitely not be surprised if they do more stuff like Joker, seeing as how that movie was so good that it has gone on to be the highest-grossing R-rated flick and the first ever R-rated flick to crack the $1 billion mark.
Mm-hmm.
For those who don't know, R-rated flicks tend to have a bit more trouble at the box office than, well, basically any other rating because, not as
It's more of a
accessible.
stigma than anything, Jova. There's this idea that if the movie is not targeted at least PG, it will not sell enough because R-rated basically gatekeeps away from the multitude of children, supposedly.
This
But,
is often why they shoot for PG-13 sometimes, because that's considered like, okay, when it comes to violent movies, PG-13 is considered the most lucrative rating you can get, which, will
There's-
guarantee
sorry.
that, hey, kids can still more likely show up. I mean, kids can technically also show up for an R-rated flick, but oftentimes...
What kind of irresponsible parent does that?
Well, okay, to be fair
Well,
to you, the very definition of an R-rated flick is that a kid is not allowed to come in unaccompanied by
Oh
a
no!
parent.
For us, we have an extra degree. Like it's even
Yeah.
sure
Oh.
they have an age rating, but sometimes we do have stuff like kid needs to be accompanied by parents, or kids are not allowed to watch this movie.
Well, I think you're
Round
thinking
here,
of
it's the-
NC-17 when it comes to kids are
Round-
absolutely not allowed.
Round here, it's the same. The only in cinemas, the only age rating that other than U and PG where a kid can come in, or if he's accompanied by an adult, is 12A. But if it's a 15 or an 18 or an R18, no one under that age is allowed in. Period.
Also, Jova,
here,
experience.
just-
Sorry, go on. Sorry, no, go on, Pedro.
In here, it's that's the thing. In my country, there are ratings that are just based on age, and that's literally it. However, they're not enforced, not really, because when I went to see Ted back in 2012, which is an R-rated movie, and yet they were kids. They were like they were like 13. And they were completely unaccompanied by there were no parents of any kind in that theater. So
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
speaking of multiverse crossovers of stuff, what do you guys make of that rumor that we could end up having a crossover of different Spider-Men and MCU?
Dweebs. I don't want to.
It's an interesting take. I mean, I wouldn't mind it if it happens. I'm not holding my breath for it. But if they did manage to pull that off, yeah, that would be pretty good.
I'm not saying
Assuming that
anything,
they
Dweebs.
can
I'm
take
not
it.
saying anything, Dweebs, because I don't know when this part will make public, and I don't want to have an occasion where, hilariously enough, the thing that we were speculating about turns out to be fake. No, to go quickly, said what Jova was saying. Here's the thing, Jova. Experience time and time again taught that when you try to make R-rated movie, think that a thing that people will not watch, you end up instead with the opposite result, with a shitload of people watching, because it happened again, for example, during the Dark Age of Animation period, let's say the 70s, where stuff like the Fritz the Cat movie happened. And I've actually seen the movie, and it's definitely a movie of its time. I just say that. Hold on. But and despite everything, despite also the fact that it was hated by the original creator, Robert Crumb, the movie was incredibly successful and one of the highest grossing of its time.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It had the whole. Oh, it's the first time ever you've seen a cartoon in theaters that has pornographic material in it. That's the thing, though. Like, when you actually watch it now, it doesn't after the shock and novelty of the oh my god, I'm watching an American-made theatrical animated film with nudity in it. After that novelty wears off, the movie itself is just. Bleh.
I still usually have a respect for Al Bashki for other stuff that he did, like his own interpretation of Lord of the Rings or Fire and Ice.
I will say this.
But Fritz the Cat is a particular case. Go on, Joe, I'll elaborate later.
Yeah, fun fact. Did you know that the bloodbath that was Freddy vs. Jason nearly got turned into a PG-13 fest, despite, both of their franchises always being R-rated?
It's this obsession of Hollywood in trying to make R-rated products kid-friendly.
Well, again, it's because they think, hey, PG-13, that means it'll automatically sell better, which...
And we gotta sell those toys.
Sometimes it does work out, but man, it still needs to be a good movie. Like, the problem with downgrading, and I do mean blatantly downgrading, an R-rated movie to a PG-13 movie, unless there's something clever like, A Very Merry Deadpool, which was very tongue-in-cheek about the whole lowering the R-rated version to the PG-13 version for the sake of money, and that we were being bought by Disney and all that. Lowering an R-rated film to an obvious PG-13, like, say, the Venom movie for the sake of selling more, really can come off as awkward here. Like,
Dweebs,
Not to mention, it doesn't even work half the time.
Dweebs,
exactly.
quickly, in case you know it, do we know if the sequel is still gonna be, the same rating, or it's gonna be actually R-rated?
Well, from what I understand...
Yeah, now it's talking about Amonsu. Remember, guys, the guy we saw at the beginning, but he's totally trustworthy.
Real quick, I'm not sure Disney made their minds up yet.
Okay.
Wait, Disney?
Yeah, Disney owns Deadpool now.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I was talking about the Venom Dweebs.
Yeah, he was talking about the Venom sequel. I was like,
Right. I don't know that.
It'll be a cold day in hell before Sony let Disney
Gives up.
have it.
Or unless there's a hostile takeover of some kind. There were, speaking of rumors, there was that rumor that Apple was trying to hostile take over Sony, but I'm not seeing that happening anytime soon.
Besides, Sony are busy trying to buy Crunchyroll right now.
Wow, are you serious?
Why?
Yeah. Because why not?
Of course.
Well, remember, AT&T are trying to offload a whole bunch of Warner Brothers stuff for as much as they can.
Look, I'm not the biggest fan of Crunchyroll, but being bought by a bigger company feels wrong.
Well, that's the thing here. They're already owned by a big company.
Which one?
AT&T and a lot of
sorry.
Warner Brothers.
I will say this. Sony are like the Brita Perry of film companies. Everything they get their hands on, they try to franchise and eventually ruin. Into the Spider-Verse being one of the sole exceptions.
Actually, that's a good...
I think Who Wants to Be a Millionaire's going along fine.
Well, I was actually talking about movie, but that makes a good question. Like, aside from the Marvel stuff, in case the Venom sequel, the Morbius movie, and potentially like the Craven the Hunter movie, I think it's going on, and the Spider-Verse sequel, what is Sony in program for the near future in terms of movies?
Jumanji?
Oh, it's very on that. Okay.
Yes, they do own that. Though that's live action. Animated wise, I think
No, there's that movie that Pedro showed us, the one that is about the family trip and then turns into a robot apocalypse.
Yeah, I'm not exactly I'm not holding my breath on that one.
I'm still looking forward to at least checking that out, just because of the trailer alone show. Okay, maybe the trailer. Okay, maybe it's one of those cases where the trailer is doing a terrible job of representing the movie. Maybe when we actually watch the movie, things will actually make more sense.
Maybe.
Or maybe Mike Rianda and Jeff Rao are taking the wrong inspirations from Makoto Shinkai or something.
That's the thing. Like seriously, with Shinkai, I already expect this because Shinkai just can't restrain himself. Like I've explained before in our Your Name. That's just his problem. He cannot restrain himself. He lost his ability to restrain himself. This just feels like bonkers. Like it's a very weird. However, I am still looking forward to seeing what Rich Moore is gonna make at Sony Animation at the very least.
You know, Jova,
Yes.
now that I think about it, I don't remember in complete detail, but I think when we did the Your Name commentary, we managed to go through the entire of it without any of us doing a Your Mom joke.
Yeah, we really did manage to.
Congratulations.
I feel so ashamed of that.
Now let's see if you guys can. No, let's see when I eventually pick Little Nemo. Be sure to see if you guys can also go for the entire movie without doing a final.
We
Nemo
will lose immediately.
We'll
I'll remember that.
Yeah, this was
Really?
Grim's remembering something. The day that happens, that will be the day of the end of the world.
Okay, anyone feel like placing their bets on that one?
Yes, it's recorded. We have audio recording.
Well, unless I decide to edit that out, but that's a story for another time.
Leave it be to you. That would be so
forgetting
much
what's
fun.
up until my personal recording that I'm recording right now. I can.
So
keep
what? So what? Are you blackmailing me? But no. You noticed to go more on topic, might as well. You noticed that I started using more construct that I have, unlocked. One of them is like a whip that is a bit similar to classic Castlevania whips, although it has like a shuriken attached to it at the end. Another one is like a propeller, which is like this set of gauntlets and a jetpack that propels Hal forward for quick punches. Another one is the missile launcher, but I will use a bit more later because it's about a projectile than the normal ring one. And my absolute favorite, but I mentioned, the suit of armor. It's slow and clunky, but it's absolutely perfect for crowd control. It consumes a lot of green energy, but it's absolutely worth it.
Excellent.
Honestly, again, despite having a limited selection of construct, I actually really like the job that Double Helix did for this game. It's not it's not super spectacular, but for being the first and only Green Lantern game that we got only so far, it's still relatively commendable. I still believe that the idea of a Green Lantern game that ties around doing your own construct and playing around with the idea is perfectly doable and possible, especially in this modern age. It's perfect for the actual current formula of trying to make a game lasting for a long time with added content in patches and DLC.
You gotta love how Hal Jordan literally formed an infinity gauntlet to plunge us
For the
in
sake of
there.
scanning. Much like before, the ring is telling you the position of Killowog and potentially stuff that needs to destroy for the Manhunter base.
Hey,
One gimmick that they added is this create a bomb, a battery that you need to put in the cell and then put a bomb in it for the sake of opening a door. Go on.
Speaking of Infinity Gauntlets, hey Pedro, have we ever told you about the time Thanos became a cowboy?
I would rather you don't. Just based on what you just said.
It happened.
I mean, Jova, come on, Jova. Like, aside from the whole farmer thing that everyone knows, because not only it happened, at the beginning of Endgame, but it was a staple even when in the original Infinity Gauntlet storyline. There's the classic, unmistakable, unrepeatable Thanos copter.
Yeah.
I still want an adaptation of that, Marvel, please.
I know, right? And now here's the real joke, the fact that I was talking about the Jonah Hex movie. But yes, that also did happen in comics as well.
And before you ask, we have seen weirder things so far, and not only that, in the comics, Thanos has actually dusted it up and used it again recently.
Yes.
The Thanos copter. So you have no excuse. Next up, an adaptation of Brute Force. Why not?
Oh, that would be beautiful.
In the meantime, I'm checking Sony Animation's Twitter. Apparently, still no news on when they plan to release Connected. The last time we got an update was back when they delayed it and said, "Oh, it's releasing sometime in 2020." Sometime in 2020.
Uh-huh.
Good
So-
luck with that.
Does Sony have a ideal, like a preference of choice in terms of the streaming platform to which they release usually products? Like
I'm
they
guessing
prefer to go,
Netflix.
they prefer to go Netflix or Amazon Prime or somewhere else.
I'm guessing Netflix most likely because Spider-Verse is on Netflix.
Okay, for this section, there you go. You need to stop the, there you go, the circling thing around the reactor, and then push a bomb in it. I said push a bomb in it. There we go. In each specific hole, in order, in order to stop it properly.
There we go. Time
In
to
the
take your
meantime-
medicine.
I think 2 remaining.
In the meantime, I'm seeing that the most recent tweet that Sony Animation has is they partnered up with this guy called Matthew Cherry for his first animated film directorial debut. And I'm seeing his wiki page right now, and he's known for stuff that I've never even heard of. The Last Fall from 2012. I don't know what that is.
Me neither.
Nine Rights. Apparently, he's best known for the 2019 Academy Award-winning animated short film Hair Love. I've never seen that.
Never heard
I
of
might
this.
have heard the name, but no, it doesn't really
Oh,
tell me
wait,
much.
I get it. Oh, this one. I saw. It's the short that was aired right before Spider-Verse.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
It's a Sony Animation short.
was
So
it
basically,
good?
Sure.
so basically, from what I understand, this guy is basically working at Sony Animation. It must be part of the president's this statement that they plan on trying to level up to Pixar
After
slash
Spider-Verse.
Disney-
After Spider-Verse, yeah.
Here's
Must be-
hoping
must
they
be-
can commit to that.
Hopefully.
Now, okay, Joe, I will give a minor credit where it's due. Right now, I will cut them so it's like as for now, considering the stuff that has happened this year.
The hiring of Rich Moore is a good start.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
is,
So there
yes.
is that. Like, even if we don't produce a shit ton of things of extreme good quality immediately, I will understand.
I'll just say this: I'm kind of tired with how Sony's animation company, Spider-Verse aside, has kind of been. Well, okay,
Lackluster.
it says something that Hotel Transylvania was kind of the only thing that felt like it had pure passion put into it. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I like Hotel Transylvania, but when Adam Sandler is your saving grace, you
That
kind
says
of
a
have.
lot.
Yeah, that does say quite a bit.
I can only say something about. I can only speak about the first one. I thought it was okay, but Games of the Galaxy can do much better than that. Much better than just okay. But
You
anyway,
can tell it was like just a job that he did for Sony.
This is why I say this. Hotel Transylvania, the film series, is not bad. In fact, they have some legit very funny laughs here and there and some great animation. The problem is that, well, it's kind of like one of those weird cases where, yeah, you can't help but say it was good, but it wasn't
But
like,
that's
okay, let's compare this to something like Batman Ninja. When we watched that, we were having, like, the time of our lives. Never felt like that with Hotel Transylvania. Never did.
I actually am a fan, personally, of the first Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. It was actually directed by Lord and Miller, the directors of the Lego Movie duology, and and Phil Lord was one of the writers of Spider-Verse as well.
The
So-
problem was the second Cloudy with Meatballs went.
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm gonna say this. It was too cartoony, despite the universe that they had set that up to be.
Yeah. One thing that I really love about the first Cloudy, I don't know, I haven't seen the second one because Lord Miller not being only being one of those producers didn't really make me. But
Oh,
I actually really like the way the first movie is animated. Like it really feels like an old school cartoon, and they move very fluidly. It doesn't feel like not that there's anything wrong with a more realistic type of movement for your animated film, that's perfectly fine.
I mean,
But it
Hotel
was a-
Transylvania is all about that, again, tied to the
yeah,
Interpol.
but it was about for a share to see that in both Cloudy and Hotel Transylvania, I would say.
Okay.
Anyway, when it comes to Cloudy from Meatball 2, it feels like they focused on just the silly stuff and not really any of the serious stuff per se.
Well, to be fair, I can speak for the sequels, but the Transylvania one did have a sentimental side to it with the whole backstory of why Dracula hates humans, and
I'm talking about Cloudy with Meatballs, the sequel. The Hotel Transylvania series, I'd say for the most part, is relatively consistent with its tone overall.
Sure. Okay.
But yeah.
I haven't seen the second Cloudy, so I wouldn't know.
I will say this. I do appreciate Hotel Transylvania for definitely having a serious side to it as well, despite all that wacky stuff. That's just sort of the issue I had with Cloudy with Meatballs too. They kind of took out a lot of the nuance and, well, just turned it into crazy kooky ventures here, to the point where the Steve...
Yeah, isn't it like a road trip, the second Meatball movie?
I kid you not, Theo. The villain is pretty much a Looney Tunes version of Steve Jobs.
Wow.
I mean, we know. Okay, if I remember correctly, the Popeye movie is back on at Sony, right?
Supposedly.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I think Tartakovsky is just focusing on Primal at this point for the time being.
Okay, last I heard, the Popeye movie is back, but I don't know if Tartakovsky is directly involved with it or if there are some strings attached with it.
I'm checking right now.
Fight the power, Hal. Fight the power. The yellow freaky power.
Oh, here we go. In May 2020, it was announced that the project was in development at King Feature Syndicate. So basically, they're outsourcing the movie to an outside studio.
Oh, so is Gendy involved?
From what I can see here, apparently. Oh, hold on. Oh, no, apparently yes. It says here, animation icon Gendy Tartakovsky is teaming up with King Features to go back to the drawing board on his long-awaited pop animated feature. Both sources have revealed to Animation Magazine. Yeah. The film was originally... Meanwhile, King Features has been making moves to bring some of its classic... So yeah, it does seem like Tartakovsky is involved, yes.
Okay, now just so long as Sony don't pull another stupid executive meddling decision with him, this could turn out to be good.
If only Popeye was allowed to have his pipe, that would be nice, but I guess we're still going with the modern take on Popeye that's been going on in the recent cartoons, I guess.
Wait, recent Popeye cartoons?
You know how Popeye smokes a pipe, right? Like it's
I know.
part of the song.
I know.
Yeah.
Like in a modern cartoon version of Popeye, they don't have him. He doesn't have the pipe, and you can probably guess the reason because it's the same reason.
The laws about smoking.
It's the same thing. It's the same reason why it's similar to how Miss Bellum is not in Pop-Off Girls 2016 because it's quote unquote not on message.
Okay. When it comes to Powerpuff Girls 2016, that is what I like to call the how to put it?
Hypocritical excuse.
Yeah,
because the show is just that disturbing, compensating on other stuff.
Pretty much. Like, oh god, look. That show has so many problems
but no, Pedro has a point. America has its new, style of laws tied around potential censorship of tobacco that have affected media's left and right.
Remember, even Gears 5, it went out of its way to be like, oh, we're partnering up with the Anti-Smoking Association thingy.
Okay, I don't remember any particular character in the original trilogy that smoked. Maybe the Sergeant, I think. Maybe Dizzy. I don't remember any one of them particularly smoking.
I think there was
I don't think, at least on that front, they managed to win it.
Okay, I think there was that one Mutton Chops guy from the Gears 3
Right,
DLC.
he had a cigar in the entire time. You're right.
But he's like a side character. I doubt he'll be coming back. So aside
Alright,
from him,
time to speed up again. With some good Mick Gordon. That's beautiful.
No, it's no, that's what I'm concerned. That the new Popeye movie is gonna follow suit, and you know, like if they want to have the classic theme, how are they even gonna have the classic theme if Popeye doesn't use his pipe to play those two notes?
Oh, knowing Gendy, he'll think of something creative, like, you know, having something else play the two notes that resembles the
An
pipe,
actual flute.
but won't be actually, you know, smoking.
Maybe something akin to Steamboat Willie, but instead it's tied to the whatever
I
ship
guess.
he's on. But I get what Pedro means. Like, it's still, you know, not on par with what the original might have been.
I guess to be fair, it is possible. I mean, the new Looney Tunes shorts did do a good job in creatively getting around the fact that Elmer Fudd doesn't use a gun anymore. They basically they came up with alternate scenarios for Elmer. So
Sure.
Like, different takes on.
I guess maybe the
Elmer
same
versus-
one for Yosemite Sam.
No, Yosemite Sam is Yosemite Sam doesn't have his traditional guns, but then again, even in the original shorts tale, he did have guns at the beginning when he first premiered, but over the years, back when we got to the 50s, his Sam in the shorts started having other roles that didn't even involve guns anyway. So Sam not using guns, it was already kind of a thing even in the original shorts anyway. So it's not that big a deal, to be honest.
Anyway, Dweebs, if you need to know context for this song, it's called Gladiator from Doom Eternal. My favorite, actually, of that game.
That being said, they still do their own set of risque jokes.
No, I can imagine. I can imagine. I was just wondering.
One of my favorite is in the one where Elmer Fudd is interrogating Bugs and he's sleeping, and then Elmer wakes him up and he's like, "Ha! Abandoned ship! It's the Germans!" That's a World War II joke right there.
There we go. And now we have the road open for the boss, actually, of the level. The guy who has taunted us for the entire time, the Grand Master of the Manhunters.
We have terminated your fellow.
Sure you did. Spoilers, that's a total lie. I don't even know why the Manhunters will pull this kind of psychological trick. Because they're not that kind of... That's the problem, Jova. They're not that kind of villain. They're very cold and, you know, emotionless. They're not that
they
kind that
felt
will
like
try
big
to be
dicks.
sneaky and conniving.
They're
They're like the Borg. They will say resistance is futile.
Manhunter?
I guess these ones are trying to lower his morale all the same. I have seen some Manhunters that have tried to do that.
Like, Brainiac would probably do that kind of trick, but not really these guys.
It depends. The Manhunters, at least some of the iterations that I've seen, seem like the kind of guys who do act very heartless, yes, but it's sort of their secret that they can show more emotions than they actually let on, essentially.
Okay, this is instead kind of like the worst boss battle in the game, because it's kind of like the... Also, he has an attack right after the gorilla boss from Strider. This boss is kind of like functional like the other giant Manhunters, but he's still very annoying because he's attacking in quick succession, has a huge area of attack, and he couples them with a bit of invisibility frames, kind of like Queen Agapo in the first encounter. So again, you need to find the right way to, you know, attack it, but in this case it's more of a fact of trying to avoid consistently the damage output that he does. There we go. But no, this is probably the hardest point that you can do in hard mode, and even then I think that if you do this in co-op, it's still much easier. Especially because, if I recall correctly, this is one game that operates on the co-op thing about that, you know, if your partner gets KO'd, you can revive it, meaning that if you strategize good enough, you will never get a game over, potentially. So, there's that. There we go. Yeah, again, if there's anything that I have to say is that even if it's trying a bit now, the music is still not really that spectacular. It's very cookie-cutted. I don't know, there's not even a single tune that I can remember for this one, but at the same time, it's not necessarily bad, it's just there. Ow. To recap a bit of what has happened, since we were talking a bit over, during the course of the facility, Al discovers that Killowog has been investigating over the actual base of the Manhunters and found they were building a particular super weapon. But again, the first priority is to find him and then find what the Manhunters are building up using the yellow energy they collected. Come on. Just one, come on! There we go.
Still cannot stop us. Green Lantern.
Alright, well, I bet.
That to honor up and serve, you would destroy our weapon and prevent us from using the yellow fear energy. But even before the beginning, your plan
Turns out the game was rigged from the start.
Always has been, son.
prepared.
You knew. How?
Hal, it's dead.
Promise you will destroy the Manhunter's weapon.
No.
Wait, you're telling me that Sur might have been the traitor?
Of the greatest Green Lantern.
No.
Dun, dun.
Like again, the problem with this twist is that it's so telegraphed because there's literally process of elimination tells you that there's literally no other way. Sinestro can't be because it's your call of a partner, so he can't just ditch you at the end. Killowog can't be because he's never really been a bad guy for this kind of situation. Queen Agatha we just freed. The Guardians don't really have any trump card, and unless they really pulled anyone out of their asses, and this game doesn't, it could have been the only other named character that you meet at the beginning, especially one that is not attached to the movie. It's like, seriously. Like, again, don't get me wrong, it's not really a bad twist per se, it just lacks complete foreshadowing.
It's like if you had an Ace Attorney court case episode, and literally they only have enough characters so that aside from the recurring characters, there's this one new character, so you kind of know that that one new character is going to be the murderer.
Yeah, kinda. Anyway, tune in next time, where we finish exploring the Manhunter base and we actually rescue Killowog. See ya!
Excellent.
Yeah.